What if I told you that Domino's was actually founded by a homeless man? Yep, that's actually true. But before we proceed, welcome to Tales of Titans, the place where business and history come to life. So, let's dive into the surprising story of Tom Monahan, the man who created Domino's. Tom Monahan's life story is quite remarkable. He was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan, a university town, on March 25, 1937. His parents were Francis, a truck driver, and Anna Monahan. They lived in a modest farmhouse built by his dad on land bought from his grandmother, and in those early days, they got water from a nearby stream until they could afford a pump. But tragedy struck when Tom was just 4. His father died of peritonitis on Christmas Eve in 1941. With his mother earning only $27.50 a week, life became really tough. She had no choice but to send Tom and his brother to a foster home, and eventually to the St. Joseph Home for Boys. Tom stayed there for 6.5 years. It was a challenging time, but it shaped him in many ways. He developed a strong love for the Catholic Church, an interest in architecture from taking care of the large old mansion where he stayed, and a belief that he could achieve anything, thanks to his teacher, Sister Berarda. However, Tom, being a lively young man, didn't enjoy the strict rules of the orphanage, which he later compared to a prison in his autobiography, Pizza Tiger. But later on, things started to look up when his mother finished nursing school during his 6th grade. She got a job at Munson Hospital in Traverse City, Michigan, and brought the boys to live with her. Tom chipped in financially by growing and selling vegetables, catching and selling fish from Lake Michigan, and selling newspapers in front of a department store in town. Despite these efforts, Tom found it hard to stay with his mother for long periods without causing disruptions in the household. That's when Monahan's life took him to a foster home and St. Francis High School in Traverse City. There's this moment, he recalls, standing in the barnyard of his foster home, knee-deep in manure, when he realized he wanted to become a priest. His parish priest helped him get into St. Joseph's Seminary in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but the strict discipline there was too much for him. He got kicked out in less than a year for having pillow fights and talking during chapel time. In his book, Monahan opens up about how deeply this affected him. He said he'd faced failures before, but nothing hit him as hard as this. It wasn't just a setback, it felt like the end of a dream. After he left the seminary, he went back to Traverse City and joined St. Francis High School for a bit. But he was quite the handful, and his mom, totally fed up, sent him to a juvenile detention home. Luckily, his aunt and uncle found out and took him in. He ended up last in his class at St. Thomas High School in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He really wanted to go to college, but his grades weren't great and he was short on cash. Monahan didn't give up though. He got into Ferris State College in Big Rapids, Michigan for an architectural trade school. He worked all sorts of jobs to pay for it and dreamed of transferring to the University of Michigan, but money was still a problem. Then, he saw this poster saying he could get his college paid for if he joined the Army. That got his attention, and before he knew it, he had signed up for the Marines. He finished his 3 years with the Marines on July 2nd, 1959. With $2,000 saved up for school, he took a chance on an oil investment to make money, but it didn't work out and he lost it all. He still planned to go to the University of Michigan in 1959, but then got sick with an ear infection and couldn't even afford textbooks. He tried again in the spring of 1960, but had to drop out after just 3 weeks. In September 1960, he and his brother, Jim, bought a little pizza shop in Ypsilanti, Michigan, which was sold for $500 with an added $400 in debts. Both the brothers changed the name of the shop and called it Domino's Pizza, but they never thought it would be their lifelong career. Jim stayed at his post office job, and Tom planned to go back to the University of Michigan. And soon, Jim sold his share to Tom for a Volkswagen Beetle that they used for deliveries. Now, with nothing else to do, Tom really dove into the business, aiming to make the world's best pizza. But his store was losing money every week, and things got so tough that he ran out of cash. He had to survive on stale popcorn he found in a cupboard for a whole week. He couldn't even afford to eat his own pizza unless it was burnt. Things got so bad that he became homeless, sleeping in his store because he couldn't pay his rent. Then, one night, things started to change. Half of his staff didn't show up, so he decided to simplify things. He limited the types of pizzas they made, and that night turned out to be the most profitable they ever had. From that point on, Tom kept the menu simple, focusing on what worked and promised super fast delivery. The business did well, and they opened another store in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, mainly for college students. Tom worked incredibly hard, often 18-hour days, and visited over 300 other pizza places to learn and improve his business. By 1967, he began selling franchises. But things weren't always smooth. A big fire in 1967 destroyed their main store in Ypsilanti, which was also their supply hub and office, and insurance didn't cover most of the damage. By 1970, they were $1.5 million in debt due to too fast expansion. Tom had to hand over the company to a local businessman, Ken Hevlin, to avoid bankruptcy, but he managed to take back control within a year. By 1973, Domino's was back on track. However, in 1975, Amstar Corporation, the makers of Domino sugar, sued them over the name. But it was resolved in 1980 with a ruling that there was no confusion between Domino's Pizza and Domino's Sugar. The company faced more challenges as Tom got distracted by other interests, leading to a decline. In 1990, they lost $78 million in a lawsuit when a woman got injured by a company driver, leading to the end of their 30 minutes or free delivery guarantee. Tom also faced a boycott from the National Organization of Women for his political views and opposition from gay rights groups for his support of the Catholic Church's stance on homosexuality. Despite all these, he managed to keep the business going. But back in 1983, Tom Monahan, who had made a fortune, bought the Detroit Tigers, his hometown baseball team. In 1984, the first full season under his ownership, the Tigers clinched the World Series title. But off the field, Monahan's decision stirred controversy among fans and the city. First, he announced plans to replace the historic Tiger Stadium, and then his approval of firing Ernie Harwell, the Tigers' much-loved broadcaster. The backlash from fans was intense, leading to Harwell's rehiring under the new ownership. In 1992, something big happened in Monahan's life. He found his way back to his Catholic faith. This change made him rethink a lot of things. The Detroit Tigers baseball team? Well, he decided to sell it to another pizza guy, Mike Ilitch, the man behind Little Caesars. Now, Monahan always had a thing for Frank Lloyd Wright's architecture. That's why he made sure the Domino's headquarters in Ann Arbor looked just like a Wright design. He was even building his own Wright-style house. But after his spiritual reawakening, he felt the house was too much, too flashy. So he stopped the construction, and that house remains unfinished to this day. He didn't stop there, though. He sold some of his vintage cars and put his money and effort into starting Catholic colleges in Ypsilanti and Florida. In 1998, there was a big change at Domino's Pizza. Tom Monahan, who started the company, sold most of it to Bain Capital, a big investment firm connected to Mitt Romney, for $1 billion. Things didn't go well after that. Bain Capital didn't manage Domino's properly, and the company started having a lot of problems. By 2001, things were so bad that Monahan, who still owned 7% of Domino's, had to come back and help run the company. He did a great job because by 2004, Domino's was doing so well that it started selling shares on the New York Stock Exchange. Fast forward to 2011, and Domino's was doing even better. About a third of their orders, and in some places almost half, were being made online. In the US, they made over $1 billion just from online sales in 1 year. This proved that Monahan was right about focusing on delivering food to people's homes. That same year, Monahan decided to step down from leading Ave Maria University in Florida and get back into delivering food. He started a new business in Naples, Florida called Gyrene Burger because he thought burgers were more popular than pizza. But this idea didn't work out as well as Domino's. Even after trying to expand to Knoxville, Tennessee, Gyrene Burger eventually had to close all its locations. Nowadays, Domino's is valued at around $9 billion. And as an 86-year-old man, Tom spends his time either at the church or loves to breed horses with his son Paul, appreciating the finer things in life. And that's all for today, folks. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more amazing content. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.